Okay. All right. Hi, guys. We're live. We all probably know me, and this is Pam.
Hello.
Say hi. She was kind enough to drive over to, we actually live in the same town now, which is really, really nice. I know. So, whoever is joining us, hi, guys. If you don't know me, if you haven't been coming over from her page, I'm Jessica. I am a pet parent coach and positive reinforcement dog trainer. And for anybody watching who does not know Pam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. I'm a holistic health coach for cats. I specialize in cats, and I do muscle testing and energy clearing work and all sorts of fun holistic stuff, and educate and teach pet parents how to use a more holistic approach for their cat's overall health and well-being, both physical and emotional and spiritual. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be here in person.
Yeah, it really is. I haven't really done it in person before.
No,
it's always like
that's me neither. So this is our debut.
Yeah. So guys, let's make this as interactive as possible, because I know it's Friday afternoon. Some people may be on their way home from work, so definitely don't text if you're trying to watch while you're driving. But let's make this interactive. If you have questions, if you have comments, whatever it is about your pets, we'll do our best to answer it. But today we wanted to talk to you because we are both new to this area. We moved recently. I've been here for 7 months, and she's been here for just over a month.
4 weeks.
Yeah. So one of the most difficult parts for me, I know, when we move, which fortunately isn't very often, is finding care for my pets, finding vet care for my pets. And when I met Pam a couple weeks ago, we were just chatting over coffee, and she's like, I know, this is crazy. I'm having the hardest time.
It is.
And I think y'all are having the same issues. And I know I hear from people all the time, whether people are talking to me about it personally, or if I'm just scrolling through social media, people are having issues with their vets not listening to them or understanding where they're coming from, trying to take care of their pets. And it's difficult. So we wanted to talk to y'all about that. And I know we knew, because we built the house, we knew we were going to move months before we did. Hello, Kimberly, my dog wants to join us.
Mm-hmm.
I started looking for a vet and a pet sitter, like 3 months before we moved. And
Smart.
I still am struggling because once you actually get here and you can talk to people and see people and meet with people, and then you realize, oh, I don't mesh with that person, right?
That energy isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know you're going through the same issues, and then it can be especially hard for our cats, because it's so much harder to get a cat to the vet in the first place.
Totally agree. And they don't like car rides.
Right.
So it's a stressful situations for not only the cat, but the pet parent too.
Yeah.
For
sure.
It's just not good.
It isn't. It like all around isn't good.
It's not good.
And so my husband is the cook. So if you hear any noise in the background, he's going to start getting dinner ready, which I'm so thankful for, because I'm so hungry. But so finding vet care and finding integrative vet care, because I know most people that I talk to have no idea that there are alternatives to traditional vet care. And then once I talk to them, or wherever they're getting their information from, and their eyes are open to it, then it's like, well, how do I get this kind of care for my pet?
Right.
Because it is hard to find.
It is hard to find.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you start at the AHVMA, the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association website, if I can get that all out, ahvma.org, I think.
Yes.
Right? You can start there. I started there too. Where we happen to live, we're Central Texas, and I knew. So I don't want to hog the stage. You're welcome to chime in whenever you want.
No, you're doing great.
I knew. I came from Virginia. I grew up in Virginia, and the way people care for their animals there didn't align with me. I knew that. That was a thing that I struggled with the whole time I lived there. Hunting dogs are property, right? And like cats live outside. And like, that's just how things were when I was growing up.
Culture.
I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving to California, we lived there for 8 years. It was like, oh my gosh, everybody here loves animals. It's so wonderful. That's one thing I miss about California. And then coming back to Texas, I feel like I've gone back to cats live outside and, you know, hunting dogs are property. And you know what I mean? Like all of these things that I had gotten away from for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm right back there. And then so finding vet care that aligns, and I know that like most veterinary offices I've called, just because I want to have a vet that if I need to get in, I can get in, right? If my dog is sick or my cat is sick, or I can get in. And so I want to establish myself at a vet office. So calling around, if I don't have a current rabies vaccine, that's the first thing they want to do when I walk in the door. And I'm like, but I have a titer test. And then if they don't even know what I'm talking about, it's like, all right, bye. Like, what am I supposed to do now?
No, it's true. It's such a struggle. It's like there is such a block between the traditional vet mentality of show me your vaccine, show me your vaccine list and what you've done, and let me see the up-to-date before I even look at your pet who is sick, by the way. You should never vaccinate a sick pet. We know that.
Right.
So, like, what's more important here? The sick pets or the vaccine? I don't, it's like your oath is to first do no harm as a vet. So why is that the first thing that you want to know?
Yeah. And I think, and the reason that I brought up the, Virginia, California, Texas thing is because of local laws, right? And I think that governs a lot of I need to see your rabies vaccine, like first and foremost, because local laws say, all animals, all indoor pets need to be rabies vaccinated. And it's like, okay, well, they were.
Yeah.
They were. I promise you. But we don't need to continue to do that.
No.
Right?
No, we don't.
And one thing that I find really interesting, and I know you follow Dr. Will Falconer, and so do I.
Yes.
And he spent many years in Austin as a practicing veterinarian. And he also spent many years in Hawaii, where he changed their rabies laws there. So
he did.
The fact that he spent so much time in Austin, I was really hopeful that like maybe people were more open here too, because he has such an impact in Hawaii, I know, that maybe he had an impact here, and maybe he did, and maybe it is better. I just don't have that, what happened then versus what's happening now.
Right.
Viewpoint. I was really hopeful for that. And if you don't know Dr. Will Falconer, he's amazing. You need to follow him. Vital Animal.
VitalAnimal.com. Sign up for his mailing list. It's awesome.
Okay, so Marissa says, amen, especially with traveling and moving a lot. My dog got into a fight out of town. Oh no. And wouldn't look at him until I gave proof or would let them give rabies. Oh my God.
I know that, to me, that just violates that oath again. It's like first do no harm. Your pet is in having a health crisis of some kind. I mean, why would you go and want to vaccinate when their body is already under a tremendous amount of stress? It just doesn't make logical sense.
It doesn't. And that, hang on guys, sorry, that messed us up a little bit. I want you to be able to see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's terrible. And I'm fortunate that I have found a vet who does house calls. And she she says she's a holistic vet. I've only met her once. I do have her scheduled to come out and give all of my babies their annual exams in a few weeks. But she's booked out for 6 weeks at a time. And it's like, what if I have an emergency, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I talk about it all the time lately. I just recently started bringing this up, is that we need to have a medical team for our pets. You don't see one doctor your entire life. So why should our pets see one doctor their entire life, right?
Right.
And it's totally okay to have a traditional vet or an allopathic vet for your primary. because they're going to be the easiest to get into. And they're not going to be as expensive as an emergency vet clinic if it's, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah. And they can do the diagnostics.
Right.
Your blood work, any x-rays, ultrasound, those kind of serious tests that you might need to have run at some point. But that's kind of the end of where I would use their service.
Yeah.
For
sure. And I mean, if I had an emergency, I would certainly go there, and I would definitely have, if any of my pets needed a dental cleaning done, I would do that, because, and I know I don't know if I've even talked about this before, but there are lots of places where you can go and they do like the anesthesia-free dental cleaning.
I've had that done before for my cats. They came to my house.
Really? And did it work out for them?
Oh my gosh, it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Really?
This vet team flew out from California, where they're based from. I want to say like Newport Beach area, somewhere around there. And they're really good friends with the holistic vet, Dr. Happy Babish, that moved from Houston to Florida. So now she's there. But she has brought this team in for several years, and she called me and she goes, "Hey, I have this team coming in. Do you want them to come to your cats?" And I'm like, "Sure," because they come to your house, and I swear it's like the cat whisperer and the dog whisperer. They've never seen your animals before, but they wrap them up in a burrito like we've seen, and the guy sits on the floor and kind of he kind of uses his legs to kind of hold the cat, and he's just sitting there holding, and the cat just doesn't even move, and the cat's not saying anything, and he's got their mouth open, and he's doing their whole cleaning and everything, and the checkup and all that, and it was incredible. He did all 4 of my cats.
Wow.
And it took him like 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most. Not long.
Wow.
Not long.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my cats has resorptive disease, so he has issues.
Yeah.
I have to get him put under. Like for sure. I always know that he's gonna have to go under, and but your cats are so lucky to have you to begin with.
Well, I'm lucky to have them, I feel like.
Are they good with eating or like chewing on bones and stuff? Do they
they have not had any bones in a while. When I used to live in Houston, I would buy whole quail from either the grocery store or this other place called Bones to Go, and they're frozen human grade, restaurant grade quail with the little bones and everything. And so I would literally just get some kitchen shears and just kind of cut it up. And the twins at the time, they would just go to town, and Aylin would only eat the wings because she's baby. So it's a little, it's smaller, tinier, whatever. But I haven't been able to source it in so long that they haven't had any for a while. Yeah. And I probably need to go get like a Cornish game hen and try. They've eaten that before too, but they really like the quail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We saw quail on a menu recently. But our HEB here, so we have a new HEB. If y'all don't know about HEBs, then you're not from Texas.
That's true.
And they have everything. Like, I had trouble sourcing stuff in California, and it's like our HEB has chicken hearts, they have gizzards, they have raw meaty bones, they have bones ready for making your own bone broth. Like they have everything. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? Heaven.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. So yeah, it's really for me about I'm trying to put together a team for my pets and finding who I mesh with. And the fact that starting at ahdma.org, I think it is, it's a great place to start, but you still want to interview people, because I know I have already come across multiple vets in this area who claim to be holistic, and then I meet with them and the first thing they want to do is put flea and tick meds on my cats. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you for your time. Bye-bye. Yeah. Right.
Do your research though. Go to the website. That's what, unfortunately, when we just moved, like a week later, one of our cats was ready to pass. So I had to do the due diligence of finding a local vet who we could take her to help. And, not being from here, I had like virtually nowhere to start except just doing a search online and then going through every single one of those websites and see which one, based on where they went to school, kind of their philosophy, if that was put on there, just the overall message from their website's homepage will tell you a lot about what they support and what they push, like the flea and tick.
Yep.
If that was one of the first things on their page, I was like, nope, next.
Right.
That was really easy. And just if they're owned by a Banfield, that's a no. I'm not going to go to you. I don't want to go to a corporately owned place. I wanted I like the idea that they're privately owned by a small group of vets that partner together, where they have more control over what they do.
Yep.
And things like that. And in this day and age, now that we are past COVID, let's face that, we're past. And I talk to people or hear people every day say, I'm done with that. I'm over. I'm not doing that anymore. But yet some of these clinics still have these restrictions, like curbside. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. You people should be past this. People want to be with their pets inside a clinic, not turning them over to a stranger.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. So, if that was their first message on the website, it's like, nope, next, because I'm not doing that. So, I mean, you have to figure out what's important to you and what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not. And just really trust that intuition and stand in your power. You know?
Absolutely. And I'll also say I have had veterinarians in the past who didn't necessarily practice holistic medicine.
Right.
But I built a rapport with them to where they were just like, I'm going to tell you what I got to tell you. And then I know you're going to do what you're going to do. And that's okay because your pet's amazingly healthy and, keep doing what you're doing. Right. So that's also a possibility. If you find somebody that you have good energy with and you feel like you connect with and you feel like you could have good rapport with, I think that's something worth pursuing as well. And kind of what I'm hoping to find, because the vet that I was telling you about who does house calls, that's wonderful for my annual, but if I need something in between, that's not going to work.
Right.
It's just not going to work.
Right.
So again, putting together a medical team for my pets. And then if you do wind up, because there are some areas of the country that, holistic care, integrative care, you could even search for that, isn't going to be too widely available. I mean, it's getting out there, but having a veterinarian where you can go and get your basics, get your blood panels done, and then doing telehealth with a holistic or homeopathic veterinarian is another option for you.
Yeah. Dr. Katie Woodley with the Natural Pet Doctor is awesome. She does telehealth medicine. So if you want to consult with someone who's who has more of that integrative holistic mindset, she'd be great. And there are more and more vets doing that. Again, you just have to really do your research and you have to look at their website, look at what they've studied. And then have that conversation, have that interview with them and see if you jive, see if there's resonance, if there's a good energy there that you feel like I can really work with this person and they're open-minded to working with other people.
Right.
Because sometimes vets are not open-minded about working with a team.
And I find even myself, like I have to remind myself that I need to be open-minded too, because there are instances where we do need Western medicine. Like I'm not, I'm absolutely not against, if I need to use antibiotics, then I will. If I absolutely 100% have to, use some sort of steroid, a one time to get me through, then I'll do that. if it's going to get me where I'm going in the long run.
Mhm.
But overall, like, yeah, I mean, I need to be as open-minded as I want my vet to be open-minded. So that's important too, because I know sometimes we get stuck in our way.
Well, and you know what, there is a time and a place for
Yeah.
conventional medicine, especially if there's an accident or if
Oh,
there's
yeah.
an acute emergency.
Right.
You know, you want to be able to rely on that kind of veterinary care.
Mhm.
But for ongoing,
Right.
regular stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, I want them to, number one, I want them to respect me as the pet parent because I make the final decision. They can make all the recommendations they want to in the world, but if it doesn't jive with my intuition and you know, I'm a muscle tester, so I go into these exams sometimes or with the cat when I'm having an issue with something, and she'll say, well, we could use this, we could do this, we could do this. And I said, I'm going to muscle test all of your recommendations, and I'm going to tell you if any of them respond well, if they resonate well with the cat, because I don't want to be going in circles trying to figure out what we need to do here. I'm just going to go straight, you know, do a straight line. And so the vet that I was using in Houston was very open-minded, and they were more integrative, and they were familiar with muscle testing. So it was great. They didn't look at me like I had a third eye, you know, like some of the vets I've gone to, they're like,
Yeah, right.
You know, and so they're a little bit more, they kind of understand what that's all about. And they were very open to, oh, this is the one option that you said, this is the one that tests well for her or for him.
Yeah.
So we'll do that for today or whatever. But that's a great way to narrow down what it is. How do you know if that's the right choice? For me, it's muscle testing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, that we can feel pressured into doing things when we take our pets to the vet. One, if we're not confident in the knowledge that we have going in, right? We're not confident that we can make the best choices for our pets. And all of that comes with just learning, like getting, I mean, we have the internet, right? Like we can learn so much on our own to be able to go in and have an educated conversation with our veterinarians now. And so having that confidence and understanding that at the end of the day, your pet lives with you, so you know them better than anybody else in the world.
That's right.
And you're paying for your veterinarian's knowledge, yes, but you're also paying for their service. And I think that's something that like societally we have kind of messed up, even with ourselves. It's like we go into the doctor and we're all like, oh my gosh, what's the doctor going to say? And now I've got to do all these things. And it's like, wait a minute, you know?
Yeah.
Step back, breathe.
Yep.
Like, you know your body best, and work with your doctor, not for your doctor.
No, it's true. It's true, because at the end, I'm glad you said that, because I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients who said they made a bad decision. And they're like, oh, something in my gut told me I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway because they felt the pressure from the vet, you know, and all that. And then they regretted it because they're having a bad outcome or whatever. And I just try to reinforce them, like, you know, you have to forgive yourself for knowing that you went against your gut, which is your God-given intuition. That's what we're given to help us make decisions. But then you have to just forgive yourself and go, you know what, I did it, or I made the best decision that I could with the knowledge I had at the time, you know, because maybe you didn't know. Yeah. Maybe you made the wrong decision, you know, because you weren't educated at the time that you made that. So you just have to go, okay, that was a lesson learned, move on. Next time I will listen to my intuition. I will listen to my gut and follow that drive, that whatever that tugging is, to go, yes, this is right, or I'm not sure. Something doesn't feel right about that. Yeah. You know, you have to honor that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, veterinarians are humans just like we are. Anna says, I love that my vet does both Eastern and Western meds. Awesome. It is. It's incredible, Anna. It's like,
it's a gift.
You got yourself a keeper, right?
Such a gift.
It is. And they're humans just like we are. And they're they're trying to make the best decision. But that's another thing that we were talking about the other day, is that we overutilize our veterinarians. So they're burnt out and they get frustrated because they're relied upon for so much more than they should be relied upon. And so they're like, well, this is what they get kind of this like,
defensive.
Yeah, they're like, well, this is what you should do. I know best, and if you're not going to do it, then bye, right? Like, and that's unfortunate. Also, that we've kind of, I feel like as a society, we've kind of pushed them into that situation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. Of course, there are some of them that have resisted, thank goodness. But
if you can find a humble vet who admits that, you know what, I don't know it all. Right. You may know more about the homeopathy and the Western, or, you know, herbal medicine or experience with other modalities than the vet does. Then, and if they're open to that, you know, because I've had them tell me, well, I don't have any training in that and I don't have any knowledge of that, so I can't comment. That's great. That's a good place to start.
It is.
I do have the training and I do have the knowledge in that. So you share your thoughts about, you know, whatever the issue is, and I can take that and use my knowledge and expertise and combine it together. But I will tell you, don't be afraid at the end of the day to fire your vet.
Yeah.
If it's just if you feel like you are being bullied and you are being forced to make a decision that goes against that gut, that intuition, or if you feel like they really care more about their processes than your pet, and that means like they won't see you without a vaccination,
right? Or
they won't see you if you're, you know, if you're not going to go with their whatever protocol, and they get real, you know, flustered with you or whatever.
Yeah,
it's okay to just go, you know what, I think we're done. And leave.
Yeah.
Go pay for your appointment,
right.
and just, you don't have to do anything that they recommend. At the end of the day, you know your pet better than they do.
Yeah.
And you can just vote with your pocketbook. I mean, Dr. Falconer says that all the time.
Oh, for sure.
Fire your vet if you need to fire your vet. And I have walked away from many vets. I really have. And it's unfortunate because I was bullied once and it was not a good feeling. It was like,
it isn't.
And I didn't know today what I knew then at the time, but I knew that that was not the right, I should not have walked out feeling guilty.
Right.
And feeling like I was reprimanded like a child, but that's how she made me feel.
Yeah.
And it was just this, literally a sneer, the way she said what she said to me. And I was like, I am never coming back here again, because nobody should talk to you like that.
No,
you know,
absolutely not.
It's just like, but again, some of those egos get in the way. So you may have to go through a few vets to find somebody that you really resonate with. And that's the key.
Yeah. And their staff.
And their staff.
My last vet in San Diego, who again, just practiced traditional medicine, but understood that I didn't necessarily. She was tough to work for. She expected the best out of everybody. And so her staff had a pretty high turnover.
She was one of those hard people to work for.
Yeah. And one of the last times I went in, actually, she had a new tech. And I was going in because Kim's ear was bugging her. And I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in her ear, because foxtails were rampant in San Diego. And that tech wanted to do a swab, bacterial swab, see if she had an infection before we ever saw the vet. And I said, absolutely not. Like, she kept something in her ear. If you put a Q-tip in her ear, you could be pushing it down. And like, it took me 15 minutes to make this vet tech stop and go get the veterinarian. You know, and it's like, if I didn't know the veterinarian already and have a good rapport with her, I probably would have walked out. Yeah. Because I knew, like, if she has something in her ear, no, you're not going to put anything, you're not going to jab anything in her ear. Yeah. Right. But that all comes with, like, just not, learning and living and learning. And, if 18-year-old me would have not have known that. For sure.
It's true. It's true. I think every chance we have an opportunity to have an experience or something like that, you can walk away learning something from it, even if it's a bad experience. We always learn the most from the mistakes that we make.
Absolutely.
And from, poor decisions. Hopefully we learn from them. But yeah, you just have to really trust yourself and stand in your truth and know that you can make the best decision. You have the ability to make the best decision for your pet's health and well-being. And really find a team, be courageous, don't be worried about what your vet's going to think. If you want to go find someone else to partner with them that works in an area that they don't work in, like the Eastern medicine or homeopathy, so that you can pull together a team, that would be ideal.
Yeah, for sure. Even if you are like Anna is with, it looks like an integrative veterinarian. That doesn't mean you don't want other doctors or other people who are specialized in different modalities on your team. So yeah, it's always a good idea, I think. And yeah, there are some really great vets out there that do telehealth too. And I know Dr. Judy Morgan does some too, and she's incredible.
She's amazing.
I mean, she's just like a one-woman powerhouse.
She is, yeah. And just know that there's so many tools available to us as pet parents now than there were even 10 years ago. There's just so much more information coming forward. There's so many groups you can join on social or private groups, like the Inside Scoop with Dr. Karen Becker and Ronnie Habib. I mean, there's constantly ways to learn.
I know Dr. Judy Morgan, actually, she has an off Facebook group as well that's free. And I think Gwen monitors it mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's people ask questions all the time, like very specific to their pets. And of course, there's always that disclaimer that, they may be a veterinarian, but they're not your veterinarian and they haven't seen your pet. But it's a good place to go to get ideas. I know every once in a while will just be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what else to do. And I will gather all of my information and I will make a post to Dr. Melissa Shelton because she's amazing and in her Animalio group, and give her everything, pictures of blood results, everything. And she'll say something and I'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? Like, I knew that. Why didn't I think of that? And sometimes that's all we need.
Yeah.
Is that like fresh pair of eyes, right?
Yeah, because you have all the info in front of you.
Okay, hi ladies, I need some healthy food to feed my cat. Well, you have access to a grocery store. No, I'm just kidding. He's overweight but healthy overall. Any suggestions? I know that may sound funny because you can get all sorts of foods at the grocery store, but I mean like fresh foods.
Yeah, we would need to know, what are you currently feeding?
Yeah, absolutely.
So drop that in here, because sometimes that's the key. Tell us what you're currently feeding. If it's dry food, ditch the dry food, go on a wet diet, preferably moving toward a species appropriate freeze-dried raw. The carbs, if you feed dry food, the carbs in the food have so many calories. Just switching from a dry to a wet, they drop weight. It's incredible.
Yeah, and not that that's the point of today's talk. Wet food, she says. But transitioning a cat to a species appropriate diet, especially one that has been on a processed diet for extended periods of time in their life, can be very difficult. And I know I've talked about how I always tell myself, I actually have a necklace that says progress over perfection, because I always have to remind myself that I'm doing the best I can with my cats. And I have, I did years ago get them off of the kibble diet. And yes, they still eat canned wet food, but they also eat freeze-dried raw food. And I do have 2 cats that will consume some real raw food. And it's a progression. And, you know, they're 13 and 14 years old now. And I know that I didn't do for them at the beginning of their life as best as I could have because I didn't know then, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's always about progress over perfection. But if your cats are already on a wet food, you're already like, you're over one of the biggest hurdles with cats, because oftentimes getting them off the dry food, the dry kibble, is one of the hardest things to do with them, because that kibble addiction for cats is real. Like real.
It's true.
Like my bread addiction.
Like my coffee addiction. So
thanks for sharing. Yes,
I would probably look at how many calories your cat's consuming, how many meals a day, how many ounces in each meal, and start by cutting back 10%, you know, and set little milestones, whatever the weight is, you know, go 10% fewer calories. And then you also need to get that cat moving. So you got to be moving. They've got to be active. It can't just be a couch potato.
Yeah.
We want them active. So you got to find ways to exercise them, play sessions, things like that, and just start cutting the calories just a little bit. And it's a slow progress. You don't want to starve them. And then if you're already doing that, then I would check the thyroid and see if there's a thyroid issue potentially kind of interfering with that. So, and some cats, you have to understand there's an emotional component to eating, just like with people,
for sure.
You know, so is the cat overeating, or love to eat because it's trying to fill some emotional issue that's going on. So those are a lot of things that you can explore.
Yeah. And I do want to just remind everybody that cats very different from dogs, where a lot of people will switch a dog's food pretty quickly. They'll cut back on their food pretty quickly. Dogs won't starve themselves. They'll eat, right? If you change their food, they're going to eat when they're hungry. Cats are not like that. So I have heard too many people say they'll eat when they're hungry enough. No, that is not true with the cat. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I also, I see you're on YouTube. So I don't know if you were following me back in September of last year, but I did the whole month of September, I did Happy Cat Month. So there are 4 videos where I went through, it was probably like 30 different things between those 4 videos that you can do with your cat to improve their health and happiness. And one of the things, like Pam was talking about getting your cat moving, is that hunt, stalk, kill, eat, clean, sleep routine, right? We want to make sure they're getting that in their day at least twice a day. If all you can do is try twice a day, then do that. If you can do more, that would be wonderful. But get that routine in with them to make sure they're getting their natural instincts out.
Yeah. Feed that natural instinct, that hunter inside of them.
For sure.
Yeah, she says, oh, he's a couch potato.
Yes, I know. So if he is a couch potato, then very possibly it is a lot of emotional eating too, right? Because they're
bored.
So bored.
They're bored. Yeah, they can be bored. I have to share a funny story. So I had an animal communicator talk to my youngest one, and one of the things that she shared was that she's bored. This is back in our Houston house. I'm bored. And you have to understand Aylin's personality. She is a little spitfire and she's naughty. So when she's bored, she's usually getting into trouble or picking on, her brothers or something. And so she said she's bored. So I said, you're bored? Okay. So we're going to go start having adventures. And I'd put her in a harness and I would take her in the car and we'd go to pet stores.
That's awesome.
To shop for her food. And she was great. She was a little angel. She was a little scared, a little nervous, but she didn't cry and she didn't hide and she didn't freak out or anything like that. But she would sit in my lap in the car and she had her little harness on, and I'd carry her into the store because it was, it wasn't like you had to walk a mile to get to the store. It was drive up and there it is. So, and it was time of day where it wasn't really busy. And so there wasn't a lot of people. And so I would just carry her in and she would just be looking at everything. But I would tell her the whole time, I says, you said you're bored. So we're going to go on adventures.
Here we go. Adventures.
So anything you can do to kind of shake up their daily routine, make life interesting.
Yeah.
And get them a catio outside or something. Just something to stimulate them mentally and physically.
For sure.
It's fun.
Well, okay, if we want to wrap up the finding a vet thing,
Go ahead. And then
I was going to say another thing is, especially if you're new to an area, is connect with your neighbors or any friends you have in the area and ask them for recommendations. It's another great way to start. They may not have recommendations for holistic or integrative, but you can always start with, veterinarians that other people love and trust, because it's at least
they've had a good experience.
Yes. So that's another, I think, good place to start.
Yeah. And then one of the things that we were talking about, we would like to partner at some point in Georgetown and do a tiger clinic.
Yes.
So we will find a location. We need a vet tech to volunteer their time to come do blood draws when we get to this point, in order to send off the blood samples to Dr. John Robb and Protect the Pets. He can do titer testing through Kansas State University to check for antibodies before you automatically revaccinate your pets. You can check to see what the antibody level is in their blood to mount an immune response if they were to encounter that disease or whatever that they're being vaccinated for. So we're gonna be looking for a vet tech in the greater Georgetown area to partner with us. But we would also just like to extend an offer to any vets in the Georgetown area that are hearing this. If you are kind of the same mindset, you are open to have the conversation of marrying that integrative philosophy that we have with the conventional side. If you're open to that, we would love to talk with you, because we need vets. We need vets for our family members.
We need vets for, I train dogs in my neighborhood, and every single one of them asked me for a vet recommendation. And so far I've had to say, I'm sorry, I don't have one. And
it would be great to be able to have someone that we could network with that is open-minded with, to using integrative methods, or at least respecting the integrative methods that we're already familiar with, like nutrition and alternative remedies and things like that, without looking at us like we're crazy.
Yes, absolutely. So putting that out in the universe.
Putting that out there. That's what we're in search for.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you for joining us. They gave Scout the 3-year, and I know Jennifer, so I know she's talking about the rabies. Is that not good? Is it better off yearly?
Oh.
Yeah. So I know that you recently got that 3 years rabies vaccine. And I would say, if you, for whatever reason, feel like he does need the vaccine, then 3 years is going to be better than getting it yearly.
Yeah.
But I would highly recommend doing the titer testing next time around. So when that 3 years is up, doing the titer testing. And I know you're not local to us here in Georgetown. We were just talking about doing a titer clinic. And she mentioned Dr. John Robb with Protect the Pets. You can get a blood draw from your veterinarian and mail it into him. I used HemoPet. So that's another one. I did all of them. I titered for rabies and parvo and everything. So when I added everything up together, HemoPet was just a little bit cheaper for me to do it that way. But depending on what you need, you could do either. And they're both great. They're both wonderful veterinarians who are, so HemoPet is
Dr. Jean
Dodds, yes. And then Protect the Pets is Dr. John Robb. So they're both amazing veterinarians who are really going out of their way, being attacked a lot, because they are standing up for their oath of do no harm. And that is against the norm in the profession, unfortunately.
True. And if I could make another suggestion, if you are in a position where you are forced to do a vaccine, then I would prepare in advance to detox that vaccine immediately, like the day you get it. And I work with pets holistically to do that. So I have the homeopathy and the herbal supplements to support the liver and to detox the heavy metals and all of that. So if you are anybody interested in finding out those details, reach out to me for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Jennifer, we had talked about looking at detoxing scalp, but I know we talk a lot, so
Yeah.
I feel like I have that memory in my head. But in case we didn't, that is excellent.
Detox it.
Mm-hmm,
Don't wait, because if you wait, it just if your pet's having an adverse reaction, it just can get worse and worse and worse. And sometimes we don't even realize what those adverse reactions look like. We just think they're sleeping and they don't feel very good for 24 hours, but that's still a reaction. So yeah, and if your dog is starting to scratch and itch even 30 days later, that is a direct sign.
Huge red flag.
Huge red flag for adverse reaction to a vaccine.
Absolutely. So, and it's really unfortunate that a lot of times it does take about 30 days for our dogs to have that, itchy skin reaction. So a lot of veterinarians kind of brush it off and say it couldn't be the vaccine. Right. It absolutely was the vaccine.
Yep.
For sure.
We learned that from Dr. Falconer.
Yes.
So he's really smart. Y'all need to follow him.
Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. Every time he puts a podcast out, I'm like emailing him, please put another one out. Like, I don't care what you talk about, put another podcast out.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so awesome.
Yeah, enjoying his life in India now.
Yes.
But so highly recommend following him. And I use his sister company, Vital Animal Health. I use those products. I love them. Mm-hmm. I'm not in any way affiliated with them. I just happen to love the science behind it and have done a lot of research and absolutely love.
They are good products. Highly recommend
those. So with that, I think, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I really can't think of anything. I mean, we could talk for hours.
Oh my gosh.
We could really talk for hours, so we'll have to find another topic and do another show.
We will. Yeah.
Exactly.
We for sure will. I'm so thrilled that Pam is my neighbor now.
I know. How fun is that?
It is, especially when I feel like people like us are hard to find. Mm-hmm. People who are just like,
share that
I don't care what the norm is. I'm going to find my truth outside of the norm, outside of the box. Like, people like that are hard to find.
They are hard to find.
I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you too. That's why we get along so well. We're like, you go, girl. Just say no.
Sure.
Just say no.
Yeah.
You just have to stand in your truth. You have to find your truth first, and then you have to just really, really solidly believe it and stand in it. So there's a lot of power in that for sure.
There is, and as women, we may be even more pressured to not find our truth. So as women, if you are a woman watching this, I'm telling you to please ignore all of that. That is only there. Those pressures are only there because you are so much stronger than everyone around you, and they don't want to have to deal with that. They don't want to have to deal with you. So find your truth. Be the best pet parent you can be. And you're already on your way there because you're watching this, right?
Exactly.
So thank y'all so much for being here and for commenting and liking. And if you are here because you follow me, please make sure to go follow Pam at perfectly PURRR.
PerfectlyHolistic.com. And I do have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, Perfectly Holistic.
Yes.
So and my people follow Jessica. If you have dogs and cats, we're here to support each other and help each other.
For sure.
Entrepreneurship is tough,
It is.
especially in the alternative world, because we're stepping outside of the conventional box. So, but there is life outside that box. I tell you guys, there is life. There's answers out there.
Oh,
you just have to get out of your box and get over your fear.
Mm-hmm. And you might be at that end where everybody is saying there's nothing else you can do. If you're like just stumbling upon this video or a video like it, you might be, in that area where everybody's saying there's nothing else you can do. There probably is. I don't know your situation, but more than likely there is something else.
There's always something you can do. Definitely.
So, well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
This was so
Excited to
fun.
be here.
So fun. And yeah, if y'all have any other questions later on, I will say Facebook is being super jinky. So you might not, you can comment on this video after we're done with the live, but you can also go to anything else on either one of our pages and comment, and I try to answer everything as long as Facebook notifies me about it, or YouTube, wherever you may be. YouTube is good at notifying me, so if you go over there, for sure I'll see your question. Just so you know, Facebook is being a little jinky, so if I don't answer your question right away, that is probably why. Try me again, because I want to help you. And I know Pam does too.
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, happy Friday.
Yes, and it's a 3-day weekend because Monday is a holiday.
Monday's the President's Day. Yeah, happy President's Day.
Yeah. So give your pets some extra love from us.
Absolutely, lots of hugs and kisses. And butts and purrs.
Yes. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.